Hello and welcome to episode 15 of Three Peeps in a Podcast. This is a special episode recorded entirely on location at Stake of the Art in Bristol, where we were lucky enough to be joined by Ian Matthews, the drummer from Kasabian. And in the interview, obviously Rich is conducting it because Rich actually went to school with Ian and was able to get him to join us for the interview. We go through some of Ian's school memories at the Grange, where all three of the Peeps actually went. He talks about how he made it in the industry, the initial sort of struggles, and then once he made it. And then we talk a bit about Kasabian and some of his other interests. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Rich, myself, and Mike with Ian Matthews at Stake of the Art in Bristol.
So Peeps, I'm here with Mr. Ian Matthews of Kasabian fame. But prior to that, as we all know, he went to the Grange School. So I'm going to ask him a few questions about his school days and how his Kasabian career come on. So welcome Ian to Stick of the Art, our little set up little studio.
My office.
That room.
So, we're going to discuss the Grange School for a while.
Yes.
As we know, it's closing down this year.
Right, okay.
And there's going to be a massive reunion in, June, I think? June the 16th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 1982, I mean, you both joined.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, size 2 feet. And
Year after I was born.
Not to mention that. But first of all, any fond memories, or is there any fond memories of the Grange School back in the day?
There is really, you know what I mean? I didn't entirely enjoy my time at school, but there are, of course there are, you know, it's an important time, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
Good time for that.
I remember over the years, you know, that kind of area around the Grange where I think it's all houses now and it's all buildings and stuff.
Well, yeah, got the ring road.
But we used
runs
to
behind it.
Yeah, well, the ring road used to be our grounds. We used to get forced to do cross country around there.
Yeah.
Which
On the brook.
I was an asthmatic, so I kept sort of fainting halfway round, you know, collapsing, so I couldn't breathe, you know. So yeah, there's like the brook and all that area around there, and there was some old tin mine or something that you can go and explore. It's like an underground. I'm sure it was dodgy as hell, but me and some mates of mine, we used to leave during lunchtime and used to rip our blazer jacket linings and get sausage and chips and a couple of rolls, and then
like a little den, was it?
yeah, basically we took the bread out of the roll, eat it, then fill it full of sausage and chips and nip out of school and
Sounds like a good idea to me.
go mess about, really.
You sound like quite a rebel, Ian.
Well,
See, when I think back, I think you're a well-behaved young man. But no,
rock and roll in me was
the truth comes out,
you know.
come out in your early days. But what's your thoughts about the Grange School shutting down? Kind of any sad bits, or are you so far removed from that now?
I think the school's changed a lot anyway, hasn't it, from what it was?
Yeah, I think back in our day it seemed to be an alright school. I thought
it was in ours as well. We left in '97, Mike and I, and it was definitely produced quite a lot of successful pupils, but it just seemed to literally go downhill rapidly.
It was starting to change when we left. It became a sports academy and it was trying to get funding. And
I don't know if it was too big or too, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I think when we were there,
Leadership,
I think it started to go downhill toward maybe the last couple of years. It was be taking kids from different schools, which they shouldn't take in.
Who was headmaster when you were there? Was it Mr. Lynch?
Sykes.
Sykes.
Yeah, it was like Samuel Sykes and then Lynch.
And then Lynch
at the end, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I think Sykes was probably our first 2 years, I think, and then Lynch, big tall chap, wasn't he?
Yeah, because he was still there when we joined. So I think they literally changed headmaster too much after we left, and like towards the end of when we were there.
I think did Mr. Lee go headmaster after a while?
Yeah.
Never the science teacher, Mr. Lee, John Lee.
Oh, just about, yeah.
I think is he head?
I never
Just
had
before
him.
it closed down.
Head now is Miss Williams, as she was.
She's head, is she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still see people from the Grange? Any?
Yeah, I've cut with a couple of
chaps?
friends actually. Facebook is pretty cool, isn't it? For catching up with people.
Yeah.
So, my old mate Mark Exon.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
And had a few pints with him, like just before Christmas sometime.
He seems to always be in Greece.
Yeah, what, like the musical?
Yeah. Danny Zuko and then.
Yeah, I think he's got a place up there, I think.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think
He's done alright for himself, then? Or was it
Yeah.
just?
And so Maddie bumped into Madeline Gould.
Yeah. I was in Fran's year, weren't we? Fran was in our year.
That's right, she was in my tutor.
Yeah.
So, were we in the same tutor?
No, I was
we
in.
were in
I was in like Mr. Weaver's.
That's right. Mr. Weaver was cool, the art teacher.
I think he's died now.
Yeah.
I've heard.
I know his son.
Kids he hasn't. He's on holiday somewhere.
I know his son, Rich.
I don't know, is he a musician?
He's a guitarist, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I was in Weavers. Mrs. Price first year, Weavers from 2nd to 5th.
Right, okay.
But you still you thinking of planning coming to the reunion, or is...
Well, it depends what I'm up to, really. If I'm...
in the studio, or...
If I'm working, with the band or something,
Is there anything in the pipeline?
Well, as much as to say there is something in the pipeline,
Yes.
But it's too early to say, to start guaranteeing things, but I think you'll start hearing from us, hopefully, later this year.
Is that touring and...
Not necessarily.
Just getting back into the studio, is it? And...
we are working on another album.
Excellent.
It's something that...
Is that a Three Peaps exclusive?
Possibly.
You heard it here first.
But we're taking our time. It's our 6th album now, so as far as it goes, the full force of the pressure from the industry is off us now. We've been doing it for a long time.
You're established.
We're established, so we're just going to get this one right as much as we can. It doesn't mean to say we've got any deadlines. We're just going to sort of do what we feel is right, and then if it comes out, if we're ready to bring it out, then we will. If not, then...
there's no rush, is there? You're not trying to capture a market still. You've got your kind of hardcore...
We've toured pretty extensively for the last decade.
Yeah.
And...
what was your favourite place you toured, like your favourite venue?
Well...
Probably Paris last year when he saw me.
Highlight of his year?
Yeah, Rich here came to see me in Paris last year. The Zenith, I think it is.
Yeah, that's what it's... Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great gig, great weekend.
Yeah.
So it was nice to bump into... Well, not bump into you, but you obviously allowed us to come back and see you, so...
We had a drink, didn't we?
That was great, that's quite it, that was.
Yeah.
Do you prefer playing in the UK or overseas? Do you feel a difference from the crowd?
There are changes in the crowd between different places. So the Japanese have a different way about them to the Americans, to the Europeans.
Yeah.
But even in this country, there is a little bit of a kind of atmospheric difference between northern crowds, Scottish crowds, and London crowds.
Because Kasabian are primarily kind of obviously from Leicester. It's like a homecoming from them, I should imagine.
Well, no, the Leicester thing is obviously that's something else. That's we did that in 2014. We did the Victoria Park, which was an enormous gig. And then we did Headline Glastonbury the weekend after. But when we go to Scotland, I mean, it's mental.
It is, yeah.
We've always had so much support from the Scottish. Not to say the rest of the country, but
no, but a bit more.
Mad
for it.
We're like homeboys up there for them. And then,
do you find obviously English language? Do you find if you play in Europe or Asia countries, they kind of are more quiet because they're trying to listen to lyrics, or is that just?
No. I mean, once they get it, once a crowd, once a country or a territory, as you like, kind of gets what we're up to, then people come to our venue and they get into it. They know the tunes. The one thing that we've noticed is if you can at least, like Serge will try and put one or two sentences together in.
Oh right, yeah, that's good.
In any language that we're in, or at least say something.
Yeah, at least try. Yeah.
Tom is useless at all that. Tom is like, he's So Serge does it. I mean, Serge speaks some Italian anyway.
Yeah, it's making contact with your audience, really, isn't it?
So when at some point, the right point of the gig, you'll talk to say, for instance, an Italian crowd in Italian, they go mad. You know what I mean? It's a nice thing to do.
Well, it makes them feel like you appreciate them. Yeah.
Ultimately, though, we're lucky because English is widely spoken around the world, so you can get away with it. It's a bit weird, like say a German band coming here and speaking German between the tunes. Don't we like?
I guess that's why British music is so worldwide, because it is a worldwide language, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
But back to the Grange School, was there, like when you were, obviously you played the drums from what age? Primary school age?
Well, I started playing drums really, I had my first lessons when I was about 4. But I was banging drums, I had drumsticks and was loving it before then, but let's just say 4, because that's when I was sat down by a teacher from round the corner up in Kingswood.
So I was going to say, there's no one at the Grange, there was no one really took in their wing and kind of...
No, see, this is even before I went to Courtney Primary School, and so he was, at the time, I mean, he was a good player. He was a friend of my dad's, a friend of a friend or something. Yeah. Happened to live around the corner. It was a session drummer, and he was touring with the Brotherhood of Man, which was like in like 1974, 1975 was like the equivalent of.
Well, Eurovision Song Contest, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that they're anything about them, but to be hired as a musician, you have to be good. You know.
Well, they're obviously I wouldn't say mainstream, but they're
a big
well-known band, aren't they?
Yeah. So Mike, my first teacher, lived around the corner, and I used to take around there, and out of a half an hour lesson, I would have like 10 minutes watching a bit of telly, and then go and do 5 minutes playing, and then do a bit more telly, and then do another 5 minutes, and so from that point, that's where I started to do it.
Is he still with us? Is he?
Mike, yeah, he lives in Bristol.
See him regularly? Or?
I've seen him for a few years now. Yeah. He came to a show quite a few years ago. He's a lovely bloke, and that's where it really all started. And then I was 7, and my dad ran a little social club band. And so by the time I was 7, I'd been playing for a few years. Yeah. And so I just started playing with my dad, getting paid.
Fair play.
Did my first pay gig with 7. So.
You haven't looked back since?
In the Bristol area, obviously?
That was the Globe in Wells.
Wells.
As in Somerset.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
But you come back quite a lot to Bristol and do your own kind of solo stuff, don't you? Or help people out, don't you? Or...
Yeah, the thing is, it's like, okay, so, obviously I've had this thing that I've done since a kid, and as I went through school, I got into like marching bands, Saturday morning orchestra stuff, and doing more like cabaret stuff, because playing with my dad.
Yeah.
That gradually worked out. I started playing at the Hippodrome. I think I did my first show at the Hippodrome was 11 in the pit, so I was doing all this stuff through school, maybe that's probably why I was probably not quite so good at school, because I was too busy being
outside interest.
I know they never put it 2 and 2 together to think it would become a job.
No,
it was just something.
So how did that step to Kasabian come about?
Well, so I kind of left school with bugger all really, so I didn't have a tremendous amount of options, and so I started getting the kind of jobs you can kind of get without any qualifications, as a estate agent, fax machine salesman,
Lloyd's Bank.
Various things. I worked at builders merchants up in Kingswood, Mr. I forget the place it's called now.
Is that one in the corner? No, I'm thinking the one.
That was Dando's, is the one up on 2 Mile Hill. Mr. Phipps, Stone Sour.
That big mother, isn't it?
I worked there for six months. That was good fun. Driving a van around, I was only about 18. Driving a big tipper truck around and taking people's garden walls down and stuff.
Nice.
It's great.
What, purposely or?
No, but
bad driving.
Try not to run over the queue of Rover supporters, because the Rover shop's there.
Good man.
Trying to get in and out the gate. Anyway, so I worked for Parsifal for a bit, and I got to a point where I was like, I had a car by then, obviously. I'm kind of 19, and I got a car, and I'm starting to play in rock bands and stuff as well, because although I'd come from a past of lots of jazzy stuff and cabaret and orchestral things and marching bands and whatever, I'd always listen to rock music as well, like new wave, British heavy metal, AC/DC, Motorhead, all that stuff, Iron Maiden. And so I remember just being sort of sat in the office, I think it was Parsifal, going through paperwork, yada yada yada, and I thought, what am I doing here? I'm every day I'm just dreaming about playing drums, and I thought, well, I'm doing all these wedding gigs and function gigs on the weekend, and I got this couple of other projects going on, but like 1 or 2 kind of function gigs, it's kind of like almost paramount to what I get all week doing this for 40 hours. You know? I was like, man, I'm denied about it, because it's not quite nice to have a job and be safe and stuff.
Security.
I was single and all that kind of thing, I thought, sod it, give it a poke, give it a go. And that was about 19 going into 20, and that's when I that was it. It looked like just went for it. And it was a bit like scary, but I realised that just to get work in Bristol as a drummer, just doing pub gigs and stuff, just to get the call, the amount of competition just in Bristol was immense, and however good I thought I was, I needed to be much better, so I invested in lessons and stuff, and I worked hard at it. I did my hours through my early 20s.
But how did the Kasabian Obviously, being from Leicester.
Well, so obviously I've got like quite a wide array of kind of musical influences or.
You just jogged 10 years, then, Rich.
Yeah. Well, this is like life story time, isn't it? But so I've got all this kind of wide-reaching sort of thing. So I've got all these musician friends from all over the shop that I'm doing stuff with. And these people themselves mingle with the other musicians, so you get drawn all over the place. To different circles and sub-circles, and you play with this band or that band or this thing, you know. And so word gets around. You just like, especially when I moved into Windmill Hill and sort of got involved with the Bristol scene, and mixed it up and made it my kind of patch. So. Gradually what happens is you get to know people, you get playing demos, you get to know engineers in the studios and stuff, sound engineers and that. I played with Kasabian, which is a folk rock band, for about 4 years, and then after that Doreen, I was still going, did that for about 4 years, and so in a roundabout way, everyone knew everybody anyway, and I knew them all, and so the guitarist from from Doreen, got me involved in a little recording project on the side with his mate who ran a studio, who I knew already, in his downtime. And in return, if something came in and it was paying, he would give me a call, this guy who ran the studio, and it'd be like a little £100 gig or something just to go and record for someone. Yep. And then one day, this is going forward now 10 years, he said there's some guys from Leicester coming down. It's only £100 in it, but I think it might suit you. Yeah.
But they didn't have a drummer, or they'd lost their drummer.
They just lost the drummer. In fact, their drummer really now is our keyboard player, Ben.
Oh right, okay.
So he was originally the drummer. Luckily for me, he's a far better keyboard player than he's a drummer. So that's kind of the roundabout story, really. Yeah. So that's how the connections were made originally.
Fate and timing and
being involved,
making these things happen,
getting in the mix.
Well, like I say, you put the hard work in and do the kind of not so glamorous jobs and just a small pub gig. And
I mean, I
don't know what crops up.
I limit it now. I limit it now. I mean, when I come home off tour, we might have a few months off. So, like the last gig I did with Kasabian was the end of August. We're now in January, so it's a long time to do nothing.
Yeah.
And as a musician, you need to stay kind of on your. You need to stay active with your instrument.
So when you go away, does the family go?
No.
They all stay going?
Yeah. Well, it's just so much chopping and changing, moving around.
Children, I suppose, yeah.
But
so how do you keep going then? How do you keep?
So
have you got a drum kit at home and stuff?
Yeah. But there's only so much of that you can do on your own. So all my mates that I've known for years, and a lot of them have gone on and done really well themselves as well. When we're all back in town, they give me a call and I go and do some gigs, and it's more interesting than just playing a paradiddle.
Yeah.
For 3 hours. Go and do a gig. I'm playing tonight.
All right.
I think it's the Mall, or it might be the Bristol Fringe. I have to check later. Up in Clifton.
Okay, right.
And I'm a bit confused with that because it used to be held in the Bristol Fringe, but it's the guy who runs it, John, runs a night. Has been holding it in the Mall for the last year or so. But I've heard word it might be moving back, so I have to check my diary.
So downstairs, is it in the Mall?
Downstairs, yeah. And then tomorrow I'm at the Gallamurphy up in
Gloucester Road.
Gloucester Road. Used to be the Prom Wine Bar. So that's with Gary, and Gary's a trumpet player in Kasabian.
There's more for you, isn't it? There's more for you to get out, isn't it? Like you say.
Yeah,
watching
exactly. I mean, I don't want to play with anybody, and you're not going to find me at a wedding gig very soon. Yeah. I'm not doing that stuff.
Get married,
Still looking on the website.
just so
still kicking out.
But so that's kind of my.
But do you pinch yourself? Do you like what you think when you're kind of playing when you're headlining Glastonbury, for example?
Yeah.
And you went there as a punter, didn't you? Glastonbury, didn't you?
I've played since about '94 because of all these bands I've played with. So a lot of the small stages and the sub stages in Glastonbury, like up through the market areas and into the jazz area.
Yeah.
They're all ran by sort of a lot of local, they were, I don't know about now so much, but local promoters to Bristol and Bath, or bars or whatever, like the Bell in Bath has its bar there and stuff. So I've played there pretty much every year from '94 to 2004, with only a couple of years off really.
Did you ever think now, looking at that pyramid stage?
Well, I used to sit there in front of the pyramid stage and think, as each year rolled by, it's like I'm not ever going to get on that stage. Funny thing is about Kasabian, I mean, we're one of the biggest bands in the world now, which is a bit weird, and with the size of gigs, we play some humongous gigs,
Yeah.
humongous shows. And if he were to like pluck me out of the street and ring me and go, "Oh, I've got a gig for you in a couple of days' time," it's all right, it's only 50,000. Really? You know what I mean? I talk about vertigo.
Yeah.
You know. But when you're in a band like Kasabian, and we've been underdogs, we've come up. I mean, we've had success, but we've come up slowly. Like 2004 into 5. You know, you had bands like Razor Light and Kaiser Chiefs and Arctic Monkeys and the Kooks and.
Your first album was really strong. That was 2005.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a chart topper like these other bands. So they'll all be like overtaking us. And but we gradually brewed up our following.
It's probably better to do that than just go bang, isn't it?
And bang and then fizzle, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we've done. We've done the opposite. We've just gradually grown. But because of that, then there's been an organic growth. So there's been times when, I've gone, oh my God, what am I doing to myself? You know, suddenly there's cameras and there's celebrities and there's like 40, 50,000 people out there or whatever.
I was going to ask that question. Any major starstruck moments you kind of rubbed shoulders, been in the same room, just kind of thought... I mean, like, obviously being at school, we kind of might be people who were big when we were at school. You've kind of saw 20 years later, 30 years later.
Yeah, I mean, Paul McCartney's pretty big.
Yeah, can't get much bigger. So.
Yeah, no, I've met loads of. I've probably forgotten more than. Yeah. It just happens. It just happens, you know.
Yeah. Was there anyone that particularly inspired you when you were like, sort of starting out?
Yeah, well, I was inspired. I was talking about being like, into my British heavy metal stuff when I was like, I don't know, about 13 or something, which was important at the time. It was an important influence. It's still in there, you know. And then I went to the snooker. I got a mate who was in with all the snooker players, so I went to watch the Masters, the World Champions, up in Sheffield. Yeah. And I went to the after show party and met all the snooker players, which was a bit weird because I was a bit starstruck. Because like, well, I've met Ronnie O'Sullivan before, and I've met Matt Selby because he's a mate of Chris's because he's Leicester. They used to play snooker together, but it was all a bit weird because there's John Berger over there and oh my God,
doing trick shots,
and there's Steve White and all that. Anyway,
but you're just taking your stride now, do you?
Yeah, but the thing is, Nico McBrain is a massive fan of the snooker. So the next morning, I got a bit of a hangover. I'm sat there having breakfast right next to Nico, having a chat with him. It's like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Weird.
It is unbelievable.
I had a pint with Brian Johnston from AC/DC as well a few years back. Up in London. He was with his mum.
He's Australian, isn't he? He lives in Australia?
He lives in America, doesn't he?
He's from Newcastle.
Originally.
But he lives in America.
He lives in Florida now.
Florida, right, okay.
And a mate of mine used to work with him, so I was up in London, I met with my mate, and then Brian popped in for a pint with his girlfriend, his wife and his mother, his wife and his mother-in-law. Yeah. And so we had that was a crazy night.
There was.
So
a bit of AC/DC.
But again, that's another one of those like, everything's great, everything's natural, and then at one point in the night you think, wow, you know.
So you've been to, I assume, to some AC/DC gigs, like once they played at Wembley a few times recently?
I saw them at Coachella last year, because we did the Coachella Festival, which is near Palm Springs, in the Coachella Valley, and it's a beautiful festival. Of course, it's like
guaranteed weather as well. Yeah. I like Glastonbury. So.
And so Coachella's now, instead of making it bigger, they just hold it on 2 weekends, exactly the same lineup. They just sell it out twice, which is weird, isn't it? But it works.
If it sells out, it sells out. Yeah. So keep doing it.
So we stay in Los Angeles, and then kind of bus backwards and forwards. It's only a couple of hours, 2.5 hours or something, from LA. So on the first weekend, we just hit the festival and then partied hard, and then went back to LA. And then the second weekend, we came down a bit early. Came down, I think, on the Friday afternoon. So me and the guitarist Tim went into Coachella and watched AC/DC on the Friday night.
Excellent.
And Steely Dan. It was brilliant as well. So,
do you want to tell Ian your favourite bands, Patch? Your favourite?
Well, other than AC/DC, very vast my musical taste, ranging from Take That to AC/DC. So it is really vast.
Yeah. Take That, like.
What is your
Jason
view
Orange?
on that?
Jason Orange is a Kasabian fan, funnily enough.
Is he? What's your view on like the non-rock band? Is there any sort of anything that you would surprise us that you actually liked? For example, Take That.
Well, I went to see Take That because...
There we go. That's good enough for me.
Because...
But you've chosen someone who's quite good.
Well,
when you say Backstreet Boys...
well, you've cut me off there. You cut me off in my stride because I was about to say...
And I hated them.
It now sounds like I donned my little wiggly headpiece thing and went down there with a pink skirt. No, obviously, because of the... Jason Orange is a fan of the band. Well, I think a couple of them are a fan of Kasabian, and they've come to our gigs. So they returned the favour. So they sorted us out every ticket. So I took my missus and the two kids to watch, and my mate and his missus and his daughter to go watch it. So me and my mate are both really kind of rockheads, really. Yeah. And we both sort of sat there, but actually
tapping your feet.
It was really good.
Yeah. They put on a great show, don't they?
Great band. Donovan Hepburn was on drums, who I know, and he's just thrilling sort of R&B, chopsy, gospel chops drummer. He was just all over it. CeeLo Green was singing. Yeah. So this is the MEN in Manchester. So this is quite a few years ago now. Right. Yeah, it was good fun. Yeah. It was good fun.
So when obviously your story of working hard for a decade or so, building yourself up, what do you think of these talent shows that kind of make instant stars for a year?
Rich for one is dead against them.
I hate them.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we've always had them kind of like Opportunity Knocks back in the 70s was a place where new faces. Yeah. These things have.
That was more kind of stand-up comedians.
Yeah, like people who've got talent. Variety.
Even in Eurovision Song Contest, though, you can make people,
But I think.
I'm not sure about it. I don't know what to think because sometimes it annoys me, but. It's not the only way. Obviously, it's not the only way into the industry. It's a way for somebody. I know someone who's been on The Voice, right, and they didn't enjoy it, right, very much.
You must come across a lot of bands who haven't made it and disappeared, who obviously much better than.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Turns out.
Of course, there's a lot of musicians and a lot of artists, singers or whatever who are incredible, but for one reason or the other haven't put the dots together. Yeah. And at the end of the day, the people who even get on the talent shows have still got off their asses and gone on the talent show to try and make it. Exactly. You've got to do something.
But a record label is looking for immediate success now rather than having a punt on somebody who might be a slow burner.
Well, the thing is, they can't afford a slow burner anymore.
No, they just look at
it. Because everybody out there doesn't like paying for music. And I don't want to be I don't want to go on about it, but... I remember when Lars Ulrich first brought this up about Napster, and everyone went against him, and all the hipster musicians, even the famous guys were like, "Oh man, it's so uncool to complain about it." And now everyone's going, "Hang on a minute, we ain't earning a buck out of this at all."
So about the legal side of it, with Napster, you can get for £10 a month, I think, isn't it?
Spotify, you mean £7 a month? Yeah. The thing is it's obviously the future now, so I'm not going to go on about it, but the problem is not so much even the personal thing of musicians. It's the fact that it does cost money to make a record, and if you want a record to sound amazing as well, and you want to carry on watching your television and seeing awesome videos, this stuff costs hundreds of thousands to make. But I mean, is if you're not willing to purchase it, where's the money? Now, it's not so much about money, as I say, going to, say, my pocket, but back to a record company who can reinvest back into an artist, because at the end of the day they're grubby, horrible business setups, models, but at the very least part of their existence is to continue a factory of artists. So they have to keep trying to find new talent of any sort, invest in it and bring it through, and they keep this chain going, this conveyor belt of talent. And the thing is, like with Spotify and stuff like that, the money doesn't go back into talent. It just comes straight out, and that's it. It'd be more interesting if there was a way for the money to go back into the talent somehow. At least then there'll be a constant stream of new ideas. I mean, people go on about, where's David Bowie? Where's the new? There's some things on Facebook comparing David Bowie and Michael Jackson and Lemmy to Justin Bieber and all that. Well, actually, my daughter's 16 and Justin Bieber's talking her language. But if you, it's too late to say if you don't want that, buy your music, because it's kind of the.
I think that's the thing that upsets me most. I've got two young daughters, and I try and play them some real music, but they are just watching someone on Disney who's singing, Serena Gomez, things like that, and they're just ignoring what I'm trying to play to them. But obviously, at that age,
you can't force it.
Could you not go on Spotify and Napster, or are you just I don't know. I assume you guys are.
I mean, there are places in Bristol where we can leave right now and go and buy a record, but you know, it's not like it used to be, is it?
Yeah. But so if you want to get your music out there and get heard, you have to be on.
So Mr. Average Family Man who wants to go to Cribs Causeway every weekend or stay within the realms of normality, it's just not at the fingertips anymore. So you got iTunes, I suppose.
Yeah.
But the money ain't coming back to the artist there either, particularly. So Spotify. I mean, I use Spotify, but there we are. Have to really, you know. So.
But right, when it comes to writing music, then you've obviously got a record label. How does that work out? I've always thought that if you write the song, you don't own it, do you? The record label owns it, don't they? You've got the likes of Michael Jackson buying the Beatles.
No, it's
songs.
publishing. That's a question of publishing. That is, and that's more of a question for Serge, really.
So is he the main?
He's the main writer, in the band. So he's it's like rights and all that kind of stuff.
You better get him down, Rich. Get Serge down.
That's the next one, yeah. That's part 2 of this interview.
He has to come from Bristol in some way.
So yeah, anyway, so that's kind of that thing. I mean, it's great. It's ongoing, and we have a bit of time out. We're making a new record. So hopefully it'll come together.
Sorry about the noise outside. There's clearly some.
That's all right.
Recognise Kasabian fans trying to break into our recording
sealed door. There's actually a curtain.
So in terms of overseas festivals, what's your favourite one to play?
Well, Coachella's pretty cool. Big Day Out used to be fun, but that doesn't exist anymore. That was in Australia.
Have you played most of it? Like European ones, Benicassim?
We've done Benicassim, we've done, oh my god,
Where you haven't yet played that you want to play, I guess?
Festivals.
Yeah, or any
venues?
Any venues, cities.
I'd like to...
Bristol, for example.
Well, there's...
What, the Grange Reunion?
Oh, no.
Well, we're
Bristol new City's new stadium is going to be a 27,000 all seating and all dancing stadium.
What, the Ashton one?
Ashton Gate, yeah.
Mate of mine's building that. I know the builder.
Time to get moving.
Yeah. Well, he's doing the
I
brick.
don't know if you know, but we are both big Bristol City fans.
Yes, yeah.
Are you into
football? I'm actually good mates with Lewis Kerry. Who used to
went to my wedding.
Yeah, no,
I went to my wedding do.
Oh, right, okay.
So I worked with his ex-girlfriend.
Oh, right, okay.
Laura?
I don't know.
Laura Bynum.
And Scott as well.
So Scott plays in my five-a-side team, and he's actually been on the podcast.
Say hello to him.
Yeah. I'll point you towards episode, is it 8 or 9?
I play for Bristol City. I did on some kind of Legends thing.
Oh right, yeah, like a charity friendly match.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, that's where I met Scott.
Right.
I know that we're building an arena, aren't we? Which is brilliant.
Yeah, up by Temple Meads.
Yeah, at some point,
Temple Meads.
I have my reservations about it though.
Right, okay.
Because we desperately need one, and I'm so looking forward to Kasabian coming and playing to 10,000 people in Bristol, because that'd be like a homecoming for me. You know what I mean? Be like, yeah. But at the same time, I'm concerned that although it makes sense, it's right by Temple Meads. I have no trust in the fact that any train operator at the right time of night is going to cater for 9 on 10,000 people to get home. Yeah. And also, I've learned that there's only going to be 250 car parking spaces, which is the funniest thing I've ever heard. Because surely, is that even enough for the disabled people? Out of 10,000 people, you know, you're going to get people.
I guess they'd be relying on. There's a new metro link going in, and the park and ride and stuff like that.
Well, George Ferguson wants new cars, basically, does he? In Bristol,
so everyone has to cycle.
Right, okay.
Yeah, little bikes. Actually.
You try doing that with a drum kit on your back.
You'll be alright. We'll get you a space.
You know what I mean? But I mean that'd be a good thing. You know, obviously the stadium. It'd be great to play that.
Well, there's rumours already of I think it's Ed Sheeran and a few other acts because they're looking for next summer. Because obviously it's going to be completed in August.
Right.
I've heard Justin Bieber's name bounded about.
Well, I'm going to mention that. But yeah. That's obviously going to be a big stadium, 27,000 capacity, and obviously on the pitch as well. I don't know what the capacity will be in terms of what you can get in there.
It changes depending on the staging, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, and the layout. Yeah.
But it'd be nice to do that.
Yeah, we'll put you down for. You want to make a note of that? Savings
play
Steve.
Steve Lansdowne.
We know Steve Lansdowne.
So that's it. I think
any other questions?
That's my winded up. That's my question.
So outside of music, then. What's yours? Have you got any hobbies or anything like that other than drumming? Yeah,
well, I've got a sort of, it's kind of a hobby, but I'm part of a new drum company.
Right, okay.
We're called the British Drum Company. We've only been going since October. and we launched at the London Drum Show back in November. It's myself,
Yeah.
Al Murray, the pub landlord.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I remember seeing the photos of that.
Yeah, my mate Keith, who I've known for a few years now, he's an absolute genius. He's our main craftsman. He's the main dude, really. That we're kind of orbiting around. And we got Stuart Ormington, who's a senior sort of drummer in the Marines.
Yeah.
So he's going to be representing our marching side.
Right.
So we're planning on, making marching drums and bass drums and stuff.
So it's actually manufacture of drums.
Manufacturing, yeah.
Right.
Our workshop's in Manchester.
Okay.
And it's gone amazing so far.
Right.
It's really kicked off.
The label on the drum. Can't think of a label of a drum. What's the sort of?
So our badge, if you like,
Yeah.
is like is a B sort of thing,
Okay.
with the British Drum Co kind of coming inside it. I don't know
Nice.
if I got
Like a logo.
There's no point, give me a picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've got a badge, and we've got like 2 lines of drums and a line of snare drums that we're bringing out, and then eventually we'll have my sort of line of drums, which we're planning on calling the Raptor series. Touchwood, that was all.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, but that'd be some time off.
Yeah.
But that'd be drums based around what I would play when I tour with Kasabian, and also freaky drum designs, which are like our Lounge series are very nice sort of old vintage vibe drums. The Legends series are a bit sharper, a bit more modern sounding. Our Merlin snare drums are going to be lovely, beautiful, smooth wooden snare drums. And then the Raptor series is going to be where we get nasty with our designs and interesting, different.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So that's kind of like the other thing
Yeah.
that I'm doing. And
Like, what do you like doing? Do you like going to the cinema when you can, and stuff like that? And you seen any films recently?
yeah, well, I've watched Star Wars and The Revenant in the last.
Watching that tonight, Revenant.
That's a great film.
Worth my time.
Yeah, it is actually. It is.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I took my daughter and the other day, and it was like, oh god.
Yeah, I was going to say. But Star Wars, I'm a big Star Wars fan, and thought that was amazing.
I really enjoyed that
Yeah.
because it took me back. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly.
It was like at the end of it.
The plot was very similar to the first one,
Well,
but
that's what I thought was great about
yeah,
it.
exactly. That's
Well,
what you wanted, wasn't it? If you'd done anything different, it'd been like, oh, you've broken it.
Yeah, but now they've set it back up again, haven't they?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So what we wanted as Star Wars fans, especially our age, is to be sort of taken back
Yeah.
there again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, they
Do you know
ruined
what I
it
mean?
these first
Yeah,
3 out, didn't they?
the first 3 that were the second 3.
Do you know what? So the younger generation, they would argue back, and that's the thing, isn't it? You
Yeah.
know? But it's
Yeah,
whatever
exactly.
gets in your head first, isn't it? But
There was a film last year, the Whiplash, about a kid on drumming.
yeah, that was
Did you,
brilliant.
You like that?
Yeah.
Thought you might like that.
That film, the premise of that film was around one protagonist, like the college lecturer guy
Yeah.
on the
He
lad.
got an Oscar for it, didn't he?
Yeah, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
He really was brilliant in it. But I've had so many of those kind of situations, although that was like one-to-one there, I've had a lot of those situations happen to me spread over, particularly when I was younger. You know, the telling offs, being sworn at, not quite as bad as a slapping,
Yeah.
where's my time or whatever, I've had things thrown at me, I've had
Really?
people, I've had music fall off the stand, I've forgotten my drumsticks, I've gone ill. I mean, okay, having your car written off and bleeding is a different thing, but, pretty much do anything to get to a gig.
Yeah.
And I've had all sorts of... So it was a lot of my experiences sort of folded up into one sort of film, and I thought it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
One final question I had was on one of our main segments on our podcast, which I'm sure you're going to go away and listen to every episode. It's called The Room of Doom, and it's basically a rip-off of Room 101.
Okay.
So if there was one thing that you could put into The Room of Doom, if you think back to sort of Room 101, the things that particularly annoy you, what would it be? Put you on the spot a bit.
That is a bit on the spot of it.
So my one last episode was people who lick their fingers after they eat,
Okay,
for example.
yeah.
Which
What
didn't
was
win.
yours? What was yours, Rich?
Among us, people don't put their headlights on properly. People who drive around with little spotlights.
Yeah.
Right.
Almost to make their car look good.
Don't you think they're trying to get away with the fact that the red light's all right?
No, weird. Because a lot of them are old grannies and Nissans. Which
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah,
a bit
yeah.
And
weird, but
Mike's was, what was yours?
I think it was attention-seeking Facebook posts.
Yeah, attention seeking Facebook.
The thing where you say, like, if you don't like this picture, you'll die in 2 hours. Ridiculous things like that.
yeah,
Why do people post it?
Can I get a share? Yeah.
So anything spring into mind?
Oh,
all of these.
Yeah, all those and above.
20 mile an hour speed limits we had as well.
Do you know what? I don't mind that so much.
Yeah, steer zone traffic.
I think though it can be abused and overused and stuff, and it annoys me sometimes you see like 40 mile an hour when you think this is easy at 60.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
especially cars nowadays, how powerful they are. And
yeah, so I tell you what annoys me is blatant middle lane hogging. Like of the ultimate degree, like
I don't think we've had that yet.
What are you doing?
I could do it.
You have to look at them sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like they're just there, doing like 65 or 70, whatever. I mean, and you're like, I can't. Where do I go?
Yeah. They're just oblivious, aren't they? Just like kind of.
Well, the problem is you can't really undertake, obviously, and then you think, all right, okay, I'm going to overtake you, and then you got an Audi go down the outside lane, so then you're into like that zone just to get round these people. If only they just moved over because it's about half a mile to the next bloody truck. I think people just scared of doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stop doing that, Patch.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Yeah. Go on, mate.
Quick ones. We're back to music. What gig is sort of giving you goosebumps? Is it obviously Glastonbury Pyramid Stage or any other ones?
Oh yeah, well, the headliner was massive. There was a goosebump moment. I can't remember which album it was. Was it? I think it was the Velociraptor album tour. But then I'm starting to think it could have been when we did the West Rider tour. We played an enormous arena. This is a great thing about our band is when we all get together and we chat about things, it seems like everyone remembers everything between us.
Yeah,
singularly,
you've got one brain.
Singularly, you're like, I remember that, and then then when we're all together, it's like the entire picture's put together. But there was this moment where our lights genuinely in this arena, they genuinely lost power. So we were in absolute darkness, black. The music was still working because the PA was still fine.
Right.
But wherever the power feed to the lights, the whole lot went basically. So we got to the end of the tune, and then Serge sort of said to the audience, instead of going off, walking off stage, he said, "Could everyone get their mobile phones out?" And it was I can't remember where the arena was, but it was you had the ground and you had the middle and then top balcony.
Right.
Yeah. And this is like, about 10, 12,000 people, maybe more. I can't remember which one it was. Some of them a bit small, some of them a bit bigger. And they all got their mobile phones out. And I felt like, if I die now, I'm done.
Yeah, amazing.
Do you know the end of life, meaning of life?
Yeah.
And death comes up from the village and knocks on the door. And he takes them with him. They all get in their Porsches and they all go up to... Yeah. I felt like that moment there. It's like, am I alive?
Yeah.
Is this...
Bit surreal.
Have I gone to heaven? And it was one of the most moving moments.
Because sitting right at the back, obviously, you can see. Obviously, you see a band in front of you. You can see
everything.
Got a good one. You got a perfect view.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Like the goalkeeper of the band.
Oh, yeah. Organising everything.
Get your gloves on.
And just a two-part one. For you, what's your favourite album, and what's your favourite song to listen to and for playing drums on?
When? With Kasabian album?
Yeah, with Kasabian album, sorry, yeah.
Well, that's really hard, really. Because they're all amazing.
Well, yeah.
And that's the thing. But for playing, even when we're touring, I go between different tunes sometimes. And
just see if anyone notices.
Well, no, you always dig as hard as you can. And with things with Kasabian, it's such a mission on every time we go out and do a gig and stuff. And so I genuinely try every time 110%. Even if I'm playing the same thing, I want to make it better than I did last night somehow.
Can you still get excited if you did a massive 40-day tour kind of thing? Or
yeah, of course, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's hard work, but the actual playing side is the best bit.
And if you're having your downtime as well, you're probably looking forward to getting back out and doing.
Yeah, exactly. I went through, Clubfoot and tunes like that are really good fun. I mean, the drum heavy tunes. There's a song called Treat that we play, and that was off the last album, and that's pretty monstrous, especially the last section of it. Generally, though, the whole set is a monster to play for a drummer. I could be in Coldplay, I'll probably be far better off, but it would be fairly straightforward playing. Whereas Kasabian is kind of like It's much more gnarly. It's much more interesting. There's a lot of sort of different styles, influences in the music. Although you might think, oh, it's just plain rock, but it's kind of more dancey beats, and there's some more hip hoppy, funky things in there, and then there's some outright rock. There's some kind of light. It's all sorts of things, you know.
Yeah.
In for me as a player, sort of mashed into that show.
So if you could play the music of another band, if you could be the drummer in another band based on their music, based on the drumming.
Alive or dead?
So, well, I'm thinking somewhere like Arctic Monkeys, because The View from the Afternoon has really heavy drumming.
Well, if I was to like be plucked out and gone for a little tour or for a gig or something, who else would you like to play for now?
Yeah.
9 Inch Nails.
Yeah.
Absolutely bloody. I'd love to be able to. Oh man, I saw them play in Japan years ago, and I was blown away. Trent Reznor. It's just like, oh man, brilliant.
Yeah, it must be weird, like being a band member looking at another band, kind of
Yeah, it's great though, because
in all of that person.
what's awesome
When
about
you think
it
you're already in a massive band.
is that I get to travel the world and all these festivals, and if I decide to see these bands, actually, I think the best band that I've ever seen play live, to be honest, out of any kind of genre of music, is Rage Against the Machine.
All right, yeah.
We saw them at Rock am Ring, which is in Germany, German festival, and they were just 4 guys on stage just came out and smashed it. It was just like, that's how you do it.
And then smash the stage.
Well, no, they just completely get. That was a masterclass on how to get on stage and rock for an hour, and then that was it.
Excellent.
Brilliant. But I get to go around, and then you get to meet all sorts of people, because like particularly festivals, like the backstage areas, the compounds, are almost like staff rooms. You know, the school staff room.
6-room common room.
Yeah, you know, you get to meet all sorts of people. I mean, you know, we got chatting to a load of Stevie Wonder's backing band at Roskilde a couple of years ago, and they landed up going to see him from side of stage, and he was immense. And then at the end of it, because we got on well with everyone, Kasabian, nobody else, just Kasabian, like the security guy, his head security guy came over to ours and said, if the boys want to come in and meet Stevie, give him 20 minutes and come on in. And we went in to his dressing room, and we had half an hour with Stevie Wonder.
Unbelievable, wasn't it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. Actually, that was a starstruck moment.
Well, yeah, I got it, yeah.
That was pretty big.
Yeah, I think that's a good...
I'm sure he felt the same, Ian.
He was massive, actually. He's so tall, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm over 6 foot, but I was looking up to him.
He's always sat down, isn't he?
Do you want to wrap it up then, Rich? I think we've...
Yeah, well, I'd like to thank Ian for taking time out to come and see...
round of applause.
Yeah,
Amazing song.
they've been listening. They've been listening.
Is this being streamed?
Did you organise that? Yeah, thanks Ian for that. Thanks for coming along, chatting on our little podcast. We're hoping to keep going. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, appreciate that, mate.
And
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
You guys as well.
We'll wrap that up. Cheers, everyone.